Hey, I'm Chris, and if you're an online business owner, this video is going to show you the systems that you can implement in your business to detach from it, remove yourself from the daily operations. Hey, I'm Chris, and if you're an online business owner, this video is going to reveal to you the systems that you can implement into your business to help you detach yourself from daily operations and give your business genuine asset value, which can be sold for multiple 7 into the 8 figures of revenue. So it's a genuine wealth creation asset rather than just an income creating asset. There are people out there, investors, acquirers, who want businesses like yours, online businesses that are highly scalable, highly profitable, but in order to buy them for multiple 7, multiple 8 figures, they need to see that they're the right systems and the right infrastructure in place. So we're going to show you how you can do that. Okay, so let's start with the fact that nowadays we have 2 distinct types of businesses. We have these brand independent businesses, things such as software companies, professional services companies like consulting, commercial training, legal services, and e-commerce businesses as well, amongst a plethora of other types of businesses as well. But here are just some examples. And there are a couple of key factors about these brand independent businesses. The most critical of which is that they do not rely on their founder to survive. They have a brand independent of their founder, and if their founder was to step away, their business could survive as an independent entity that doesn't need their founder's constant input, that doesn't rely on their founder's attention, that doesn't rely on their founder's content to generate leads. It's a self-sustaining, independent entity. Examples of this, there's a little screenshot here that you can see: Lacoste, Nike, Adidas. You can also talk about pretty much any software business that you see: medical software, finance software, compliance software, legal software, etc. And a lot of e-commerce businesses as well. So for example, something like Tala by Grace Beverly is now a brand independent business. Back in 2019 when she started it, it didn't used to be. She used to drive all of the traffic to that business, but now it very much exists outside of her. She could completely step away and that brand would still be able to give value to its customers, and she doesn't even have to pay any attention to it. It's got brick and mortar stores. It no longer uses her image on the website. So this is really what makes it brand independent. We then have this new wave of businesses. They're typically lifestyle businesses and they're very brand dependent. These are things such as personal brands, online education, selling online information, specialist consulting services. And the reason why these are brand dependent is because the audience is typically found through online content. This is a very critical lead channel. It's very scalable, it's super low cost and builds genuine trust with your audience. But alone, the viewers of this content begin to associate you with the value creation, which means if you step away or if you stop creating content, you're not going to be able to deliver the same value to your clients, or at least that your client's perception will be that you can't deliver the same value. And if you stop creating content, then you're not spinning the lead generation machine to bring in more eyeballs and more attention that you can convert into clients. And this is really what we mean by brand dependent businesses. There are a couple of other examples as well where you are so critical to the daily operations, even if you have a brand independent business, but your knowledge is so crucial to oiling the wheels of that business on a day-to-day basis, whether that's managerial or operational responsibilities, that it's quite difficult for it to survive outside of you. Fortunately, this is a very solvable problem. Really, when we look at what distinguishes these businesses from each other, it's their ability to exist outside of their founder and create equity value. The ability to exist outside of their founder and create equity value. So what do we mean by this? If the founder steps away and were to never, ever, ever pay attention to this business ever again, that business would continue to survive. The second thing is that this creates equity value. The reason why is because if you have an asset that's independent of you, that can survive outside of you, that generates consistent profits, consistent cash flow, and can be used as a vehicle to achieve economic and business goals, people will be interested in buying that business. If you have a business that's doing $1.5 million in revenue at 80% profit margins, and it's very, very independent of you. It runs like clockwork pretty seamlessly. There's going to be someone who'd be thinking, you know what, I'd quite like this source of income. I'd happily buy that for 3.5, 4 million, because this is going to keep generating me money year on year on year, and they wouldn't necessarily have to be so involved with that. And in return, that will give you a wealth event where you'll make 4.5 million overnight. So if your business can't exist without you, there's a couple of things that will happen in your journey, and these are inevitabilities. You'll burn out, your business will only be able to survive through you. There's an opportunity cost, meaning if you have the skills, if you spot opportunities, you're so tied to the daily operations of your business that you're running, selling information, for example, that you can't go and pursue other opportunities because you simply don't have the time or the resources to be able to do that. And that's a problem because you'll sacrifice potentially millions of dollars in exit value, and your competition can beat you if their personal brand becomes more magnetic and people are more attracted to their content, and your content no longer performs as well. So to understand whether your business can exist outside you, you need to ask yourself these questions. If you disappeared for 30 days in your business, what would break? What parts of your business exist only in your head, so they're not systemized, they're not documented? And how much of your revenue depends entirely on you personally? So that's your content producing new leads, your authority and trust producing repeat customers and increased lifetime value, and your presence being critical to the delivery of value to your clients. If you start to ask yourself these questions, you'll start to find the solutions and thus create equity value. So how can you go about creating systems that generate equity value? So the first of which is you look at channels, principally for lead gen. You need to diversify your channels so that you have multiple streams of lead generation so that it's not entirely dependent on your content. You can use things like sponsorships, you can use things like affiliate programs. These all mean that your content is no longer carrying 100% of the weight of generating leads in your business. The second is systems, and you use that for delegation so that other people can be trained to deliver the same value as you, whether that's the information being delivered to clients, whether that's running the operational side of the business, whether that's creating lead gen. You need to have documented systems that reflect what you do on a daily basis so that somebody else can come in, interpret that, and repeat the thing that you're doing. If this does happen, you can happily step away and other people can execute your responsibilities. It creates so much asset value. And finally, the cherry on top is to have an independent brand. A lot of information, education businesses, or generally any digital business these days, is principally reliant on the face, image, and reputation of the founder. Examples of this could be someone who sells property investment information through their own personal brand rather than funnel their traffic towards a independent brand like a property investment academy, which would transfer their reputation to the brand and mean that that business can generate leads and still be perceived to deliver value if the personal brand is removed. So if you want to solve these problems that you will inevitably face at some point in your life cycle, if you sell online information, online education, expert services, or pretty much any digital business that's low cost and scalable, you need to start systemizing your operations. That's delivery, fulfillment, onboarding, client results, all documented, all repeatable so that they can be performed by new people and you can train those new people to repeat those same systems. And maybe they can even train somebody else to do that as well. You also need to remove yourself as the bottleneck. Anywhere that you are the bottleneck, whether that's content, lead generation, delivery, operations, managerial responsibilities, you need to make it so that somebody else can step into your shoes. Obviously, this might feel a little bit unnerving because you're like, well, what am I doing? Well, if somebody else can do what I do, then what value am I adding to the business? That's great. You don't need to consistently add value to the business. You need to create it so that other people can help the business create value for your clients. And then finally, it's asset value creation. You need to turn your business into something someone else could run and someone else could buy. Typically, this is done by predictability and transferability. Predictability meaning that month on month, year on year, your flaws in revenue, profit, lead generation, etc. are all pretty consistent. So on a monthly basis, absolutely you will generate no less than 2,000 leads, rather than on a month by month basis. If you're dependent on content virality, one month you might generate 3,000 leads, and then the next month you might generate 174 leads, and then the next month it's 600 leads, and then it's 300 leads, and then you have a spike and it's 2,500 leads. This isn't predictable. It's up and down, up and down. You need, at the bare minimum, a steady floor. So you can still have those peaks and troughs. It might be 10,000 leads one week, then it might be 1 month, then it might be 8,000 leads the next month, and then it might be 6,000 leads, but it will never, ever, ever drop below, let's say, 5,500. And if somebody knows the number of leads that we're getting per month is never dropping below 5,500, it creates a level of predictability which is really, really attractive for somebody to buy. The next thing is transferability, which goes hand in hand with predictability. If you can have transferability, then you are no longer the only person that can run it. Somebody else can run it, and you can hand them the keys to the business and they can produce exactly the same results that you're doing. If you can achieve this, all of a sudden you're sitting on a business that's worth certainly into the millions, potentially even tens of millions of dollars if you can maintain those profit margins, which is very possible. If you are a founder of a digital business, make sure you check out my page, check out the content, so that you can implement these lessons into your business and start creating genuine equity value and systems that allow you to detach.